Use my code PAID10 to get 10% off your next order of Advanced GG. Is the new rocket-assisted frame pulse rifle too powerful in Destiny 2's Edge of Fate? The Mint Retrograde is a brand new pulse rifle, the first of its kind. I finally got my hands on one, and I'm gonna tell you guys how you guys can get one too. We're gonna go over all of the perks and the stats, and I'm gonna give you guys my opinions on what I think is the god roll. So let's get into this. So if you want to get a chance for this to drop, head on over to the Pinnacle tab here in the portal. And if you do any one of these missions, you will get a chance for this pulse rifle to drop. It can drop out of the chest, or it can just drop from one of the powerful enemies. I actually just killed like a yellow bar minotaur in the middle of the mission, and it randomly dropped for me. Now, the Mint Retrograde is a strand special rocket assisted frame. It fires self-propelled rocket ammunition. Projectiles explode on impact for high damage. So we are over here at the firing range. There's about 347 to the head and 288 to the body. It comes with 2 origin traits: Problem Solver, dealing sustained damage to champions, mini bosses, or boss combatants, exhausts them, and grants this weapon handling and reload speed. Exhausted targets deal reduced damage. So we got a champion over here, and if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, you see he starts to like glow pink right here. That means it is exhausted, and it's going to deal a little bit less damage. So that's always a good thing, especially in that harder content. And then you have Vanguard Determination. After using your class ability, final blows with this weapon grants you bonus damage resistance. Pop our class ability, get a kill. As you can see, we got Vanguard Determination ×2 down there. Stacks to ×3. And it just stays at ×3, but every time you get a kill, it refreshes to 10 seconds. We don't actually have any number values about how much damage resistance this is, or if it stacks with other DR. I'm assuming that it does, and I'm also assuming it isn't like a super high damage resistance, maybe something like around like 5, maybe 10%. Anything more than that would be pretty OP, but who knows? Somebody's probably gonna get in there and test it out extensively. It's not gonna be me, but just know that it does work. Now let's take a look at these trait perks that come on this thing. In the first column, you've got Beacon Rounds. Final blows with this weapon grant your projectiles tracking and increase reload speed. Dealing further damage extends the duration. And it grants the following while you have active stacks: plus 15 to your reload speed, a 0.9 time reload duration multiplier, and a 45% increased auto aim cone size. Now, I never have problems landing shots with this weapon. It's pretty accurate, so I don't think you should go with Beacon Rounds. Kind of seems like a wasted perk. You also have a Rewind Rounds on this. When this weapon's magazine is empty, it refills from reserves based on the number of hits. Upon emptying the magazine, it refills 60% of the number of hits landed into the magazine from reserves. Now, fortunately for me, I actually have Rewind Rounds on this one, so we can see exactly how it works. I've got 8 in the magazine right here. I'm just gonna lay into this overload. And we actually kill him. So let's try that over again. All right, hopefully this guy is a bit more chunkier. Let's see what it does on him. Like I said, we have 8 in the magazine. Get down to 3, 2, 1. And it automatically reloads my whole entire magazine, goes back up to 8. So that is pretty cool. Let's see what happens now. Back up to 6. So essentially, look at, you can just fire the whole entire ammo reserves before you have to reload. So that is very good in my opinion. Then up next we have Recycled Energy. Reloading after defeating targets grants energy to your lowest charged ability. Now this isn't a new perk. It's been around for a while, and I don't know anybody who uses this. Even on these websites, it doesn't even have a number value still about how much energy you get back, because this perk is like so terrible. Nobody uses it. Nobody does any research on it. So I'd say skip out on Recycled Energy. But to be honest with you, I don't have that perk, so I didn't really test it out. You also have Hatchling. Precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with this weapon spawns a threadling at the target's location. It's a good perk, but I don't think it beats Rewind Rounds. You also have Stats for All. Hitting 3 separate targets increases weapon handling, stability, reload, and range for a moderate duration. When it's active, it gives you a plus 35 to your handling and reload. 10 to your stability and range, 5% increased damage fall off distance, and a 0.95 times reload duration multiplier. It's a good perk, but I don't think you really need it on this. And then you've got Envious Arsenal. Dealing damage with both other weapons before readying this weapon refills it from reserves. Now, Envious Arsenal is a very good perk. I wouldn't say this pulse rifle does like god tier DPS, but if you run out of heavy ammo, this is definitely a good option, and Envious Arsenal is going to be really good for you just getting your entire magazine back from getting damage with other weapons, especially if you have something like a rocket launcher perhaps that has Envious Arsenal as well. That would be a pretty easy damage rotation. Fire off a rocket, shoot him once with your hand cannon, unload with the pulse rifle, and then just switch back to the rocket, fully reloaded, and then rinse and repeat. Envious Arsenal would be pretty nice on this pulse rifle. Now getting into the last column, you've got Bait and Switch. Deal damage with all equipped weapons within a short time to give this weapon a damage boost. So just like I went over with Envious Arsenal, Bait and Switch would be really good on this if you wanted to specifically use this for a damage rotation. Dealing damage with this weapon starts a 7-second timer. Dealing additional weapon damage resets the timer for 7 seconds. Dealing damage with all 3 of your weapons without letting the timer run out grants Bait and Switch for 10 seconds, granting 30% increase to damage. So if you wanted to work this into a damage rotation, I would definitely say go with Bait and Switch. Then you've got Chain Reaction. Each final blow with this weapon creates an elemental damage explosion. I like Chain Reaction. The explosions look really cool, but I feel like this weapon just takes out ads way too easy, and you should really be using this for more like yellow bar, orange bar, champions, mini bosses, stuff like that. So I don't think Chain Reaction is absolutely necessary. You also have Slice on this thing. Casting your class ability allows this weapon to sever targets on hit for a brief duration up to a maximum number of targets. And while Slice is active, damaging non-severed targets severs them, grants a stack of Slice, and refreshes the buff duration. Now, one thing I wanted to test out with Slice is to see if it actually stacks with the Origin trait, because Slice reduces the outgoing damage, and so does Problem Solver. It exhausts them, which targets deal reduced outgoing damage. So once I get the Slice on this enemy, it's gonna glow green, and once I exhaust them, remember they glow pink. So let's see if we can get both of those to proc. Let's get our dodge off. There we go, he's severed, glowing green, and boom, right there, green and pink. So it looks like both of these damage reductions stack. So we know Sever does 40% less damage. We're not exactly sure what the Origin trait does, but it does look like they both stack. So that is going to be pretty nice in that higher level content. Then up next we have Elemental Honing. Dealing unique elemental damage grants this weapon a stacking damage bonus. This bonus is increased for kinetic weapons. So once you deal elemental damage, you'll get a timer for 20 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times. So since this is an elemental weapon, it's going to gain 5 stacks, and at 5 stacks, it goes up to 35% increased damage. So if you're on a prismatic subclass, it's going to be really easy to get that damage bonus, and 20 seconds is a very long time to run around with 35% increased damage. Then we have Master of Arms. Kills with any weapon improve this weapon's damage for a short time. Scoring a kill grants Master of Arms ×1. That's a 15% increase to damage for 7 seconds. A second kill with any weapon with Master of Arms active grants Master of Arms ×2, granting 25% increased damage for 4 seconds. So if you guys like damage buffs, Master of Arms is pretty easy to proc, but you also do have One for All. Hitting 3 separate targets increases damage for a moderate duration. It's going to give you a 35% increase to your damage for 10 seconds. But the only problem with this is that since this is special ammo, sometimes special ammo is hard to come by, and you'll have to get 3 kills just to get this one perk to proc. But it is 35%, so Master of Arms or One for All, you guys are going to have to decide what you guys want for that one. So what is the god roll for this pulse rifle? For the barrel, I would go with something like Smart Drift Control, just because it buffs your stability, velocity, recoil direction, and handling, where some of the other ones have like negative effects to it. Now for the magazine, you probably want to go with High Explosive Ordnance. On the rocket assisted sidearms, we know that High Explosive Ordnance bumps up your ammo reserves, so it's only safe to assume that it'll do the same here with this pulse rifle. For the first trait, definitely go with Rewind Rounds. As you guys saw in the earlier footage, you can literally just blow your entire load, as Astrocross would say, and not have to reload. And then in this last column, if you want to go with a damage perk, I would say probably Elemental Honing, just because it's a pretty big damage increase and it lasts for 20 seconds. You do have to jump through some hoops, so if you don't want to do that, definitely go for One for All. If you guys want that damage perk, Elemental Honing or One for All. But do not forget, I think the sleeper pick is actually Slice. I know it's hard to give up a damage perk, but this pulse rifle is already doing a ton of damage, and in that higher level content, you get Slice to proc, and you get the Origin trait to proc. That enemy is going to be doing way less damage to you, and it could help keep you alive. Now for the masterwork, I'd probably go with Velocity, just because there is a little bit of travel time, and then you definitely want to go with a backup mag to get more in the magazine. So Guardians, those are my thoughts, my opinions on this pulse rifle. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. What role do you have on yours? And I'll catch you guys in the next video.